So I want to share my story about a family member who took advantage of me at a young age. Not only was he a family member, but he was the brother of my mother, or is the brother of my mother. This goes back to when I was as early as elementary school. Um, it happened more than once. It happened more than twice. It happened on numerous occasions. I was always scared to say anything because I didn't feel like I had that outlet to speak on it. On top of not having that outlet, I was bullied into not saying anything by him. He was a little older than me, um, bigger than me at the time. Because again, you guys have to remember, we're going back to 97, 98. I was a little old thing. You know, a lot of this stuff is from 20 years ago. So, you know, ultimately, he had some kind of power over me. Um, One of the accounts that took place, my mom and my family was actually sitting right downstairs while it was happening. I remember, I remember being upstairs in my room. I was laying down, and I remember him and my grandfather coming over to the house. And this is when we lived in, I want to say we were in Lindenfield projects. Um, and I remember them like, oh, Maurice is upstairs. I could hear when they came, I could hear, and the lights was off. And I remember him sitting on the edge of the bed, and I'm laying down, and I remember him like rubbing me and like basically telling me to like get up. And I remember like saying no, like I don't want to, like why, like why. And in Lindenfield, we had this in my room. We had this closet, and it was kind of like a I'm not gonna say like a walk-in open concept closet, but it was like it was long, and so you could easily like step into it just a little bit. And I remember him making me like telling me to get out the bed, come in the closet with him, and he like pulled his pants down and start grinding on me. And he would make me like feel his penis while he was hard. And I never, you know, like I always knew, a part of me always knew that this was wrong. It wasn't right because I knew that he was a family member. And they were all literally sitting right downstairs. No one ever came upstairs to see what we was doing. No one ever, you know, used the bathroom or popped in the room to see the lights were off. Like nobody ever checked on us. And he proceeded to like grind on me. I remember him grinding on me this time. And I remember um, him making me just like grope him and stuff. I don't remember vividly at the time like if there was any like ejaculation that took place, but I do know that there was a lot of grinding, and I do know that there was a lot of groping. After that happened, I remember him getting dressed and leaving, and then I was just upstairs in my room like just crying about it. And again, I never went and told my mom about this incident ever because I was always scared. There was another incident where I remember, anybody who remembers Grover Washington High School, Grover Washington Middle School. I was in middle school. I probably was like sixth grade. Grover started at fifth. Washington Middle School. I I was in middle school. I probably was like 6th grade. Grover started at 5th. There was no summer school. I mean, there was no summer vacation in that school. The way they did things, we called it intermission. So what they did was they took our summer and they broke it up throughout the school year. So we went to school all year round, but at least twice during the school year, you would have a 15 break and what they call a 15-day break, what they call intermission. So that's what they did with your summer vacation. They sliced it up. So you would be in the house, so you would be like red house, yellow house, green house, blue house. And first, like say, yellow house will be off for 15 days in March. And then like in April, it'll be blue house off. So that's an inconvenience to a lot of parents because parents gotta work, kids are home alone, you don't know what to do, they're off in the middle of the school year. What do you do? And I remember my mom sending me up to New York, and I know I never said anything, but I feel like I used to beg them not to let me go to New York. I used to be like, I don't want to go. And I never said why, but I knew like I just didn't want to be around him. And so go up to New York, and what do you know? I have to share a room with him. And once again, he's molesting me. He's groping on me, forcing me to grope on him. He's grinding on me. And I remember him saying, you better not tell. If you tell, nobody's going to believe you anyway. So don't even waste your time and tell. And I remember crying, and I remember him getting mad because I was crying and I wouldn't stop crying. I guess that was like blowing his, I don't know what the proper term, like, you know when they say like blowing your high? So he probably was like blowing his horniness, if that makes sense. So I remember him just like getting angry and just like stopping because I was crying because I knew this is not what I wanted to be doing with you. Again, I always knew in my mind that this is my family. So he stopped. Next encounter took place. My mom sent me up to New York again. And this time she sent me with my Aunt T-Bay. I remember like it was yesterday. This was the last time that he did this to me. And I remember crying. And my Aunt T-Bay was going to New York because she was hanging out with my cousin Chantel. And she was staying at my cousin Chantel's house. And I remember begging her. I was like, please don't leave me here. Please take me to Chantel's house. I want to go to Chantel's house, please. And I remember her telling me, no, you can't go. We're not going to be there. You can't be in the house by yourself. No, you're staying here. You're going here. And I remember just crying. And I remember when I got there, they was yelling at me like, go get dressed and put your night clothes on. You're going to be fine. And I remember running in the bathroom and I heard my aunt leave. So while I'm in the bathroom, I remember looking out the window and thinking that I seen her, and I'm just like crying, because I knew I did not want to stay here because I already knew what was going to happen to me. And I remember him watching porn and making me watch it with him. And I remember him trying to get me to perform oral sex on him, but I was not doing it. Once again, it was him grinding on me. It was him making me stroke him. Just real filly, touchy. Whatever he got from that, I don't know. And I remember once again just crying. And I think he felt like I was gonna tell. So what he did was, there was these like workout bars, and my grandfather had one hanging up. Anybody who's been in my grandfather's house in New York can vouch for this, that there was a workout bar there and they used to do pull-ups. And he made me hang from the bar. He told me to hang from the bar while he took a belt and he was literally in there just beating me and telling me I better not tell. I better not tell. If I tell them again, nobody's gonna believe me. Nobody's gonna believe me. And all I could do was cry. And I felt like I was fighting for my life. And I'm like begging. I'm begging him. I literally was begging him to stop. And he was just like, just going. So eventually he stopped. And then I remember, the day went on. He went out, and my grandfather and his girlfriend came home. And so they were trying to figure out what was wrong with me. I remember they were supposed to take me to Great Adventure, and I made up a lie about why I couldn't go. I made up something about not having medicine and that I needed to go home. So I made up this big lavish lie, and it worked because my grandfather was so over it that he was just like, fuck it, tomorrow I'm taking you home. I'm gonna take you home. I remember late that night, my uncle came in the room and he got in the bed with me and he like grabbed my butt and started grinding on me again. But this time it didn't last as long because I guess at that point like he was over it. And I remember just like trying to like nudge him off of me, like stop. But I guess he didn't want anybody to hear him because the way apartments in New York are small. So literally my grandfather's room was smack on his room. Like his wall and my grandfather's wall, you can literally hear whatever's happening. So had he would have kept going and if I made any like noise, it would have blew his cover. So he stopped. So I remember that next day being driven home, and then my mom and them was in shock, like, why are y'all back? So my grandfather told my mom about me making up some lie about not having medicine and not being able to go to the park and all this other stuff. And my mom, she was pissed because this was her break. Like, she wanted me gone. If she could pawn me off on anybody, and not have to deal with me for 15 whole days, see ya, like, you're out of here. So I remember getting a phone call. My aunt, because I think my aunt approached me, getting a phone call, and they were saying something about some porn was found on the computer. And in my mind, I knew that, yeah, porn was found on the computer because that's what he was watching. And that's what he was making me watch with him. And so I remember they said that, oh, Booby said that you was watching porn on the computer and there was no way that it could be him because the date and times that match up in the history, he was at work and you were the only one home. So it had to be you. And I remember I got in trouble and I'm like, what? Like, that's not true. Like, it was him. Like, why am I getting in trouble? And my mom cursed me out. I don't know if I got a beating that time or not, but I know I know I was in trouble real bad. I was in trouble real bad. And I was just like, why are they believing him? Why are they believing him? Like, I didn't do this. This wasn't me. And I just couldn't wrap my head around why somebody would lie. And mind you, I was still young. So some time went on, and like I said, all of this was before the suicide attempt and stuff. So, the suicide attempt and all of that stuff happened. Then I was still going through the things that I was going through with my mom, etc., etc. Another victim came forward, which is his niece, my mom's sister's daughter. He raped her. And they tried to cover it up. And when the news got back to us here in Philly that he raped her, my mom's initial reaction to the rape was, he didn't rape her. She lying. Like, that little girl lying. My brother ain't raped that fucking girl. So can you imagine the same man who molested you multiple times, hearing your mom defend him when a little girl, her niece, supposed to be her niece, is coming to say she was raped, and to hear your mom say that this little girl is lying, where do you think that leaves me? I'm not gonna be the chipper to go run off and tell her. So now it got compressed even more. Now I'm holding on to it even tighter. Now I'm falling into a depression because I have to keep holding on to this. Time go on. We found out he raped another boy. I think this was a boy he was like away in school with, or like in juvie with, or something like that. But he raped another young boy, and they tried to cover it up. So now he has 2 rapes on his hand, and then he has multiple occasions of him molesting me. Why are we not speaking about this? Why isn't anybody, like, why is he not in jail? Why is, like, this not being a thing? Like, why is this not a thing? Why is everybody so hush-hush about this? This man is literally a pedophile, a rapist. He's committing crimes against people that's younger than him and walking scot-free, living. I heard that he had a baby. Like, what? I don't see him anymore. I have not seen him in years. When all of this came out, I don't remember if it was my mom or my aunt, but they had let my grandfather know what I had disclosed to them. And his reaction to it was, he's fucking lying. My son didn't touch that boy. He just making this up. He been a faggot or something in that room. I know it was really harsh. He called me out my name. And I was just like, oh, wow. And I haven't really heard from him or talked to him since either. And I recently heard him say, my aunt came to me and said, my dad said he don't know why you hate him and why you don't. And I'm like, wait, huh? Like, are we gonna play delusional here and act like we don't see what's going on around us and what's happening and what took place? For me, it's one of those things where it's just like, there's literally a pedophile walking around in our family and they're allowing it. Nobody is doing what they have to do to stand up for what's right and to call him out on his shit and tell him, you're wrong and you have to pay for this. Nobody. It's one of those things where it's just like, and I feel like this happens a lot in African American households where kids are being touched and molested and raped and all of these weird things, and it's just being swept under the rug as, we don't talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. You be quiet. You don't disclose that. And this is shit that I had to live with forever. I have moments where, now let me first be clear. Does it run my life? No. I don't get up every day soaking and you know, down and out and, oh, my life was so bad, my life was so miserable. No. Anybody that knows me, no, I don't. However, do I have moments where I'm weak to it? Do I have triggers? Do I have things that cause me to bring up the past where the past may come up? Yes. Some days I'm happy, then there's days where I'm just laying in the bed and I'm completely just not myself. And I know that there's somebody else out there going through this. And I just want to be able to say, if there's any child that's going through this, or if there's any adult that has gone through this, and you're scared to say something, reach out to anybody you can. Say something even if you think they won't believe you. You know, confide in a teacher or something, because I have a lot of toxins in me from this, from all the trauma that I dealt with. And the road ends here. I don't want to be 40 years old still crying about this. I don't want to be 40 with kids and spewing that venom into my kids. I want to be 40, divorcing my husband because he can't deal with my mood swings anymore. I don't want to be just that guy that's just 40 and miserable and just a mess over some childhood trauma that I never seeked help with. Every day I'm fighting for a relationship with my mom. I don't know. I'm hoping that when she sees this, she gets more clarity of where I'm coming from and where I stand with things. I'm solely looking for peace within myself. And one of my aunts, when I brought this idea to her about doing a PSA to help someone, to possibly help someone that's going through what I'm going through, she said to me, it's going to be one of those things where you do this, you speak your truth, and you're able to let it go. And she didn't mean it in the sense of like, okay, you said this, now grow up, you're 32, let it go. But in the sense of you're letting this weight go off of you and you can kind of see clear eye now. Because I hold a lot of anger in me. I grew up angry, like a switch I will click out in the switch of a dime. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot more therapeutic things that I need to do than just this. But I need my family to know and to understand that I am a victim. Someone hurt me. Not only did someone hurt me, someone in our family hurt me. Someone in my family that's still active, that still has access to come around. And it affected me. It affects me in my adulthood. It affected my childhood, and it affects me in my adulthood as well. And I don't want anybody else to have to go through this that I'm going through. I was told earlier this week that I should cancel my PSA and not go through with it for, someone else's well-being, I guess you can say that. And for just a small second, I contemplated it, but it's like, why do I keep on protecting this person? Why are we protecting this person? Why would I cancel telling my truth? And if I can help somebody else that's been through what I've been through, why would I walk away from that? If you feel like you're hurt from watching this, and this goes for anybody in my family, I'm sorry. It's nothing that I can do about it. But I have to tell my truth, and I have to be able to sleep at night. Everybody gets to sleep at night but me. So my question is, what is it? You guys see this, it's out there. So now something is on your conscience and now you can't sleep at night. So, now it's like this scare tactic. Oh, don't do the PSA. Like, what are we doing here? The light should go off and say we're protecting a freaking pedophile. There's a rapist in our family. Like, and nobody is making a riot over it. But I'm supposed to be quiet. I'm 32 years old. And I'm not even going to sit here and pretend like when I walk away from here, I'm going to be all better. This is a long journey and a long road to go. But I'm deciding to take my peace back and be better. I want to help somebody in need. I know that there's somebody out there in need. I know that there's somebody else that shares the same story as me. And I'm here. If you see this and you've been through this and you've been keeping this a secret, reach out to me. Listen, I'm be the first person to let you know that it's okay. Nobody should have to go through what I went through and be silenced about it. It's just not fair and it's just not right. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Currently, 32. I own my own business. I am still married. um, I'm looking to start a family. Um, we're looking to start a family. Um, and for the most part, I'm happy. But in order to be truly happy and to be at peace, I had to let this go.
So I'm very proud of my husband for doing this. This is not something that is easy. It is something that is difficult to talk about. And I'm very proud that you decided to talk about this and make this uh, a statement for people who are going through this. Um, Living and being with somebody for a decade, it is a tricky situation because I do see moments where, I would call him or I would come home and it would be like, I'm not saying that I'm like always in a good mood, but I'm always like, I'm okay. And there are moments where I'm like, are you okay? And he'd be like, I'm fine. But I know that he's not okay. And I have like I don't know if it's a sixth sense where, it's an emotion that you can feel when you've been with somebody for so long. You just know that they're not okay. They're going through something. Something's happening. Like they're having an emotional moment. So you gotta, like he said, you gotta be really patient. And I've been really, really patient with trying to navigate through that and trying to know when he's in that type of mood. Don't say anything. We have a very good understanding when we're both like tired or not even tired, but just when he's going through that emotion, try to navigate around it. Sometimes it sucks because you just be like, damn, I want to talk to you and you're not really in the mood, but that's just part of it. But allowing himself to express and be, more vulnerable with letting it go in the sense of getting the weight off of him to be able to move forward and help people. I think it would help him navigate through some of that emotion. So it's great. This is really, really good. I watching this had cringy moments. I was like, oh my God. It's like a weird feeling came over me sitting there watching it, but I'm proud. So proud.
We're cheering to new beginnings, peace, being brave, love, and moving on with life. Woo! Thanks y'all for tuning in. A little sip for you, and a little sip for you. That's
cheers.